destroying itself, the world ended the First World War. Veterans from the First World War were granted lands in Australia to grow crops to sustain themselves. Most of the farms were located in Western Australia, and so they were encouraged to grow much wheat. The government also promised that they would buy the wheat. Then the Great Depression struck in 1929, and the government told the farmers to grow more wheat with the promise of subsidizing it. With all this excess grain, the emus came in and profited. They came in swarms of hundreds and ate all the grain. Following that, the rabbits would profit and eat whatever was left. With all of these crops being eaten by the emus, this led to even more economic downturn. So the Australian farmers asked the Australian government for support. Instead of going to the Minister of Agriculture like you think they might, they went to this mustached man who was the Minister of Defence, called Sir George Pearce. They asked him to bring in the military and shoot those darn pests. He enthusiastically agreed, but under the condition that the farmers would pay. The farmers happily agreed to bring in the army to get rid of those emus once and for all. And with that is how the Emu War started. The question is, who participated in this great military endeavor? On the emu side, there's a leg-wobbling 20,000 emus versus 2 machine gunners and a commander called Major G.P.W. Meredith, armed with 2 Lewis guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, tasked with destroying the emus. The first skirmish took place at Campion, where about 50 enemies were sighted. The enemies, or the birds, were out of range of the Lewis guns, so no birds could be killed. The second engagement took place when the locals tried to herd the emus into an ambush. As soon as the gunfire started, the emus run every which way in small groups, making it incredibly hard to target, so incredibly hard to kill. In the end, there are very few emu casualties. The next battle was on the 4th of June. Meredith had set up an ambush near a local dam, and over 1,000 emus were seen heading towards Meredith's position. This time, wiser, the gunners waited until the enemy was very close before opening fire. Although half of the battalion's guns jammed only after 12 birds were killed, and the remainder ran away before any more could be killed. A soldier on the front remarked,
"Each pack seems to have its own leader now. A big black plumed bird which stands fully 6 feet high and keeps watch while his mates carry out their work of destruction and warns them of our approach."
Our lads have to do some real...
Now, before you go around spreading memes like these, remember that the emu could run at over 40 kilometers an hour, take over 4 bullets to the chest, and live. The emu was a pretty tough bird, even though it was flightless. Plus, they reproduce as fast as heck. You see all those really little emus? The machine gunners then moved further south, where the birds were said to be way tamer. But they had very little success there too. Commander of the Australian forces remarked, "If we had the military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, they'll face any army in the world. They can face machine guns with the invulnerability of tanks." The emu attacks continued, and once again they asked the government for support. The government authorized it on the 12th of November. And on the 13th of November, Meredith and his men, considerably more now, were out on the field killing emus. This time they were way more successful, and by the first 2 days, emu casualties were approximately 40. By the third day, which was the 15th of November, wasn't very successful. But by the 2nd of December, the soldiers were killing 100 emus per week. But then the farmers had a mind-blown moment. Fences. They could just put out fences and they wouldn't come in. That, my friends, is how the Emu War ended. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe and like for the next one.